In 2019, KPMG completed a study and found 75% of customers say they would switch brands for a better loyalty program. Welcome to the Restaurant Growth Show podcast. We'll talk about that crazy statistic, plus a whole lot more. This is episode 2. This is the Restaurant Growth Show podcast where we talk about how restaurants can use technology to boost their sales. We've got a lot to talk about in this episode, but first let's introduce our guests. First, we have Jose Albas, co-founder and chief growth officer at Moduurn. With more than 25 years of online marketing experience, Jose has successfully founded and operated companies in software and hospitality. Jose's passion is to continue to build technology to help restaurateurs grow their businesses. And right beside Jose, we have Alex Cook, VP of Sales and also a co-founder at Moduurn. Alex's experience in the hospitality industry spans 30 years, including 16 years selling POS solutions throughout North America. Alex's deep understanding of consumer behavior led him to pioneer hospitality mobile ordering solutions. Lastly, who am I? Well, I'm your host. My name is Gordon. I am the resident digital marketer at Moduurn, and I specialize in demand generation, paid advertisement, organic search, and email marketing strategy. I run a digital marketing program called the 90 Days to Success at Moduurn, where I teach, you guessed it, restaurateurs how to sell their food online through digital marketing. Gentlemen, how are we doing today?
Happy Friday, team. Doing great. Looking forward to a long weekend here, Labor Day weekend.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Definitely. Everyone's excited. Everyone's feeling good. Approaching the long weekend. I'm not sure when this will be published, but do know that we are in 2022 and it's the end of summer is approaching, and I'm a little sad about that. But what I am not sad about is this crazy statistic where KPMG did this study and they mentioned 75% of customers would switch their brand for a better loyalty program. What are you guys' thoughts on loyalty and rewards in the hospitality space?
Well, I think that it's a fantastic opportunity for businesses in general to have a sense of gratitude towards their customers in general, and as a strategy, it has so many possibilities for businesses. It's a way of mitigating, let's say, even inflation. When it comes to that, it's a way of increasing and growing loyalty itself, bringing more customers, have word of mouth, interact and have a deeper engagement with their potential, with their audience and guests. Loyalty and rewards is something that it can be so flexible that it can be applied to pretty much any kind of food service operations. How you do it and how you deploy it and how you structure it for your business, it's what makes a difference. But I think that it's something that is available to any kind of food service business.
I think I'm thinking back to two conversations I had just this week alone with two different clients. And one came back to me, they have a loyalty program, but they're not offering any rewards. So the whole point of a loyalty program is to build loyalty, is to be able to offer something in return. And part of the process is making sure you have something implemented to entice people to register, come online, use your product, and more importantly, come again and again. So you have that, as the word says, loyalty to the brand. The other one that was interesting was, here's a company of a significant size, And the owner doesn't believe in digital marketing in today's world, which blows my mind because when you take a look at the restaurant type, it's really targeted to a younger group where digital marketing would come into play. And in a world where that's so competitive right now in the hospitality space, and also we know that their profit margins are getting chipped away. I mean, this is not a news story. We've been talking about this in the hospitality industry for as long as I've been in the industry. But there's new regulations coming in. The minimum wages are increasing. They just went through a tough 2 years with a pandemic. Now we have an employee shortage or labor crisis, if you want to call it that. And there's really great ways to help grow your business. But one of the things they need to do is really take a hard look at the program, how they want to implement it, and what they're hoping to get back in return. And that takes time and energy to be able to implement properly.
What were loyalty programs like before? I don't want to age you or anything like that, but like before these digital programs,
You mean back in the 80s?
Hey, you said it. You said it.
The 90s. Loyalty programs to me, when I think about the old days, is a punch card. You go into a coffee
Yeah,
shop and you
yeah.
get, you're literally punching 9 coffees and then you get the 10th for free. But guess what? It worked. A lot of people would come back, and if you open someone's wallet or purse up, they would have a whole bunch of these loyalty cards, the punch cards. And, that's all, of course, moved into the digital era now where, we can have this on. And I always point to my phone because this is where the this is where the loyalty program, this is where the gift cards are stored now, is right in our own devices. So we don't have to have these 3-inch wallets full of loyalty cards.
Exactly. Yeah. The OG loyalty program was that, buy 9 coffees and get the 10th one free, or donuts, or whatever you're talking about. And, if you've got 5 favorite restaurants and they all have a different loyalty program, then yeah, you're trying to balance all of these different punch cards and fumbling through your wallet. But now, yeah, it's all digital. It's all living on your phone. It's up in the cloud. Jose, in your experience, what are like the main sort of methods at loyalty program? How does it work?
Well, so in general, there's two main methods that build points system, right? One is based on amount, and the other one is in visits. And usually amount based are the ones that are used by fine dining because the average check is higher. So you want the user to spend a certain amount rather than try to get them to come for visits, which is how the visits are more likely for the smaller average check. You actually want them to come in multiple times, and it's easier. It's easier to drive them to come multiple times than in a fine dining that you would be like, okay, buy 5 lobsters and you will get the 6th free.
Man, I just had a thought. Lobster punch cards. Okay.
Exactly,
Okay.
lobster
There you
punch.
go. There you go.
It's really hard every time that you're gonna buy a lobster. You're gonna think about it, right? So it would be a really hard incentive to drive. But if you put a certain amount, then it's easy because on any great night of bad decisions that you're having fun with your friends, you can reach that $150 to $200 that gives you the $50 gift card, for example, right? So that would make the difference, and also it's because, as you see, even as I'm describing, it's a completely different experience. In one, you're like, okay, I'm going in, I'm going out, I'm going in, I'm doing this, I'm going there, easy. Didn't feel it. I need to get it out of the way kind of feel. The other one is a full experience. I'm gonna think, I'm gonna bring my friends, I'm gonna get to that point, and it makes sense because you're gonna get a decent amount that is gonna help you to come back to have that fine dining experience. It just helps, right? It just moves the needle that a little bit when you're making the decision, should we go to Italian A or seafood B? And then you go, okay, let's seafood B. You know what? I have a $50 card that we can, I have $50 there that we can use and have that extra fun, that extra bottle of wine, that
That
extra.
makes that makes a lot of sense, and I think there might be this misconception or stigma that a loyalty and rewards program is specifically designed for quick service restaurants. But
Correct.
what you're saying is that it's just as advantageous for fine dining establishments to employ a loyalty and rewards program as well.
Yeah, it's a different way of thinking about it. And I love this because this is a question for Alex. I remember when him and I started working, we would experience a lot of the fine dining restaurants have traditionally also have they have this subculture of the prestige that gets wasted with rewards programs or even with online. It's like, oh no, we don't do that kind of thing.
They're not whipping out the hole puncher right there at the front desk. This is your fifth lobster. Here you go. All right.
Exactly. But if you think about it, it is also if it wasn't there and it's someone that it's frequently going, what does the owner do? They come out, they go and be like, hey, Gord, regular, would you like the same? Yeah. And then you're with your friends enjoying the time, having the experience, and then the owner may come like, hey, I want no, this one's on me, a really great bottle of wine, right? So having that awareness that it can be transferred into a program, it's how you present it, how it moves, but at the end of it, it's that appreciation for the customer that is going to keep him coming back and bringing their friends, and their friends will take it out, and then they come. Like it's just, that's who we are, and that's how it makes it better.
Let's take a look at the casual fine dining. Let's not go fine dining, but casual fine dining. That is more in our wheelhouse, and then also the QSR. But a lot of this is to do about getting to know your customer. So carrying on where you were just leaving off there, Jose, is knowing more about them. So you know when their anniversaries are. You know there's a special occasion. You mentioned there's a bottle of wine or dessert or something we can do. It could be a birthday. It could be a reason to celebrate, but also you get to know, could be anything from your demographics as far as age group, where they live, right? Do they live close to your restaurant, or are they a tourist who maybe just arrived at one time? Um, the thing about loyalty that I look at that changed so much now in the digital world is we can get a lot more creative when it comes to loyalty. So, we're not using the old punch cards, but we can incentivize customers to give us some information. And that might be a first time user discount. So maybe you get 25% off the first time you use the app. So they get a chance to use it. And that's where you take a look at online ordering, for example, is that it's a much more powerful tool than most restaurateurs realize. And I say that because, and again, I'll repeat this over and over again, it's a customer facing tool that's very different from a traditional point of sale system. And it can do everything from your gift cards, but you can give someone a gift card with the app. So now they're getting the gift card with $40 attached to it, and they get the app. And that could be a gift card that's given to someone because maybe there was a poor experience, whether it's food or whether it was. I'll give you an example. I went to a pub last night. The fish and chips, which was a special, the batter came out, wasn't great. I let the server know. I wasn't complaining. I was just being honest and saying, it wasn't great. I don't want anything else. I'm not looking for anything. She came back, gave me 50% off. The better way of doing it would have been, here's a gift card for whatever the 50% value would have been. And they would have had me come back, and they would have had more profit because I would have used that gift card for a second attempt or a second chance to come back. And that's how we can use loyalty. And I say loyalty and gift card because I think they're combined. The two and two go together very well.
Yeah, that's a great point. Just to build on that, how important is ease of use of these digital loyalty and rewards programs for the end user? What's the impact there when maybe it's 3, 4, 5, 6 clicks to I just want to get my food, you guys, right? Like what is the importance of ease of use?
I think you're always going to have the people who are technical and they can figure things out and they love it. It's like a puzzle. But the majority of people, I think, are looking for a real simple solution. And you have to keep in mind when you have a program like this, you're not targeting one group specifically. You've got a wide group of people with different skill sets, and so it should be quick, and should be simple to use for everybody. And kind of like the old Apple days, right? They wanted to make it as simple as possible and
Right.
as clean as possible when they first came out. How do you do that? Well, there's no strange buttons. There's just one little button on the bottom of your phone. That's it. And that's going to take you back. So, as few clicks as possible, I think, is going to be a key, but also, just the overall flow. Does it guide you through the process so it all makes sense to everybody? Or do you have to start asking questions about how you have to use the program? And as soon as you have to ask a question, in my mind, it's already too complicated.
I would add something to that, and it's that just like as a basic principle that the easier you make it, the more it's gonna get clicked, right? That we know. But then if you take it a step further, with technology, and this is something that we we can really take advantage of today, and it's just in its infancy, is that the same way that we keep learning from games, online games, like technology games, where the experience it's gamified. I would say that with all the information and data that that we collect daily through technology, you should be able to find that moment of maximum possibility of remarkable customer experience. It could be on the negative side when something goes awry. It could be on the positive side when they're about to pay a surprise, or it could be like the traditionals on a birthday, on the surroundings and the proximity. All of these plays at the right time, the right moment. It could be like really, really impactful and be part of that deeper level of ease of use, like the perfect moment, the perfect timing, where you feel like it's serendipitous, where it's just like perfect, and just like make that customer, that guest, extremely happy, like over the moon.
And I think from a digital marketing perspective, with the merchants that I work with on a regular basis, one issue that comes up over and over and over again is I don't know what to talk about in my newsletter. I don't know what to talk about with my Facebook ad. I don't know what to post about on my Facebook page. And what the loyalty program provides is also something extra to talk about. This is what we have. This is what we're doing. This is how we're going to reward you. And doing that on a daily or a weekly basis gives them just that much more ammunition to go out there and show up in people's news feeds, right? Where you don't need to be all that creative. Say, hey, look, we're gonna give you, 20% off when you buy that sixth lobster. I'm going to continue on with the lobster example. Just gives you more content to work with and publish across different platforms to get people talking, to get people interested. That's at little to no cost to the operator. So, in my
Well,
mind, it's just more ammunition.
Well, let's take a look. I mean, the hospitality industry, it's going to go through its ebbs and flows, and you're going to have great weeks and great months, and you're going to have other weeks and months where your sales figures are going to go down. That's natural. You're going to have times where you plateau, and that could be like a great example. One of our clients with multiple locations did plateau with online ordering, which is natural because everybody was going back to in-seat dining and doing activities and getting out and doing normal things. That was when you entered them into, or actually enrolled them into our 90 Days to Success, where they were actually this time following your leads. This one I talk about on a regular basis because by re-engaging our client to re-engage with all their end users or their guests, that's where we saw them increase their sales volume by 15%. And also I shouldn't say more important, but equally important, they increased the number of registered users with all the contact information that we had talked about that you can market back to, was by 458 users, if I remember correctly. Those are astonishing numbers, but that's with a client who's been using the solution for a number of years, 6-7 years, approximately. But they plateau, and that's natural. So in the industry, it's always about being front of mind. So if I'm out of sight, out of mind, maybe I'm not thinking about you, but there's also 350 or 500 other restaurants in my city that I could go to. So what's going to make me think about your restaurant and have me come back to you in comparison to all the other restaurants that are in my neighborhood or in my city or that I could go to? And that's the real important part is how do you stay consistently in front of your customers? And if they can't think of any content, you got to get creative, dig a little deep. You should have lots of things to talk about with your restaurant or your business because it's an exciting industry and there's always something exciting to talk about. And you talk about your food, your product, your brand, your location. Something is happening in your neighborhood. It could be there's a local community event. You just want to share that you're part of it. Get creative with some of these ideas that come up, and we can do that by sharing some examples of what other people are doing, and get those creative juices flowing where you're going to share some and come up with some ideas of their own.
I think that you just mentioned something quite important, and it's one of the things that I'm so passionate about the food service industry, and that is that the top of mind, it has something beautiful, and it's that we're feeding people. And I always, sometimes when I'm thinking about, the fire hose and the internet and so much data happening there, I usually think also about like the human condition, the human being, and think sometimes I think like, I wonder how many brains right now, how many minds, and how many people are talking about what should I have for lunch, right? At about 11:15 around the world, it's a question that is just going around the world all day long, right? So timing that answer, which is a huge advantage in the food service industry, is that to be top of mind, it only requires to show up on time, remind them, and put a good picture. You're going to be salivating, and that guest is going to be like, oh my god, I know what we should do. What do you think about this, right? And it's if you do it with a beautiful picture, with beautiful words that is talking about delicious food, we work in this. What is one of the issues that we have when we're doing demos, when we're having meetings and we're looking at our customers' websites and stuff? It's like, oh my god, I'm hungry, right?
It's one
I
of
know,
the
it's an interesting point because when we think about food, we start off with what type of food do we want? I want hamburger. I'm looking for pizza. I'm looking for Asian food in particular. I'm looking for Thai, or I'm looking for pho. We start off by identifying the style of food that we want, and then we start to figure out which restaurant out of those food types that we want to go to. I'm interested in casual fine dining or a pub. Um, so and I don't think that's abnormal. I think that's typically how we start when we're feeling hungry is what am I feel like today? And then we start to dissect it from there. Who am I going to go to now that I've decided what type of restaurant I want?
that's where I think the challenge of third-party marketplaces begins, right? Because they've got
Massive
more
directory.
bang for your buck within one single platform, and that's the challenge that independent operators especially are facing, is all of that choice. And what a loyalty and rewards program does is it gamifies, as well as all of the additional benefits that those programs bring. It also gamifies, and that naturally makes people say, hey, you know what, I'm actually a member to this particular program and I'm accruing some points, so I'm not really worried about the 40 other restaurants that are close by, because not only do I like their food, but I'm accruing some points here and I want some benefits.
Yeah, so I agree, and I think that that's one of the very powerful things, and I see, because sometimes I do use the marketplaces just to think about what is there, but right after, as I decide between the two and stuff, I will go for the one that I have the registration, that I have the points, that I have rewards, that I'm actually, or that I prefer, that I love, that and just it's just for the decision making. Then go online, I check out what if there's anything new. Sometimes I just type it in Facebook, and then go to their own app, see what other is. Something new may be happening that it was just posted that day. Never know. But this is my personal experience, that in the thought process, I always go to, okay, I know this is gonna cost me a lot of money, so I'm just using it as a way of having everything in one place. but then I go directly to the restaurant because I know I'm gonna save 30%, 20% plus. I mean, as we know, when we care, the charges that they get.
That
Alex?
was interesting. I was out for dinner the other night. That was with my daughter, and we went to a sushi restaurant, a little higher end too. And I always love sitting there observing how many to-go orders are going out the door and how many of those are being picked up by third-party delivery companies. And then, start doing the math a little bit. It's like, well, there goes, an order, it's some revenue, but probably not much profit. And then we get into a whole nother discussion about how do we convert these customers to their own delivery platform where they can now own the customer, they can protect their brand, they can reduce their delivery fees. This is a whole conversation for another podcast, but that also moves into the loyalty program because you can offer incentives to move them away from third-party delivery and move them to their own delivery, even if we're using something like DoorDash Drive, which is to the end user, the guest, they have no idea that it's going to DoorDash. It looks as though it's the restaurant's own delivery drivers and their own delivery program. It's a really important conversation, and maybe that's another podcast that we set up.
Yeah, but to bring it back, because that is very important, is that once I learn that I am collecting points or that I'm gonna get a discount when I order directly, I will be thinking about that restaurant more often, and I will remember that how I get the points is by actually going online, doing certain activities, interacting with the brand, downloading the app. However, whatever, there's a myriad of possibilities. But the important thing is that it is better for both the guest and the restaurant. Savings for both, better experience, controlled, and everything else. It's just much more powerful for the brand to build itself on something they control.
I wanted to add something as far as the loyalty goes, and this kind of goes where you were saying, Gordon, where they don't know what to promote or what to say, and this is a service that we offer because we recognize that a lot of restaurateurs, they're overwhelmed. They don't have the spare time, which is why they don't have the creative space to think of some of these things. And we do have companies that we work with that we can introduce our customers to who can manage all of that for the restaurant. And that's the next phase. Is like, now that you have online ordering set up, then the question remains, what can you do with it? Because there's so many things that it becomes endless as far as a real marketing tool. So we want our customers to keep in mind that, if you are too busy, it doesn't mean that you can't still have these implemented. Maybe there's somebody who's better at doing this and has the time and can dedicate it with the experience. And most importantly, give you the results that you're looking for, which is that return on investment. So if it costs you a couple $100 a month, but it's bringing you in thousands, I look at those things as a great investment. And those are things that we're going to constantly be talking about with our clients. What's next?
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah. This the eternal struggle for each operator out there, whether to bring your marketing in-house or to outsource to like an agency model. That's something that's, constantly discussed.
But when you're working with an agency, one thing to remember, or one thing to keep in mind is, does that agency have experience in hospitality? Hospitality is a very different animal. And if they don't, there's quite a learning experience to figure out the specific nuances that hospitality has over a lot of other businesses. But there are companies that specifically specialize in hospitality. So you don't have to go through that training exercise to figure out more of the business model and everything. So just some other things to consider when you're looking at a company like that.
I think that the learning curve of someone that is already in the industry is way quicker, faster, and there's a lot to learn. So there's no need to actually pay an agency that it's not in the experience or not in the space to actually go through the process of discovering the market, figuring out the stuff when actually there are some that are just very specialized. Another important thing is that and I talk about this all the time, is that sometimes the perception of return investment can be a little muddy for restaurateurs. And what I always say is that if you invest in something, right, and you get, let's say, a 50 or 80% return investment, really good, and then you add something else that gives you another 40% return investment or 150% return invest. It's that you're gonna be able to add things that, when at the end of the day, you're gonna have a 2,000 return investment when you actually choose properly all of these pieces that bring you return investment and that help you grow your business.
I want to be on that 2,000% ROI marketing program. Where do I sign up for that? That's some cash in my pocket. That sounds good.
For technology, you can.
Yeah, we can go to info@moduurn.com.
No,
Shameless
email us
plug.
and we will
Shameless
show
plug.
you.
Shameless
About
plug.
$100 and we'll bring you 20, 40, 30, 40,000.
All right, gentlemen. Speaking of cash in my pocket, it is the weekend is approaching. It's the long weekend. I'm excited to get out there and enjoy the last, remaining days of summer and sunshine. What are you guys doing this weekend to enjoy?
I'm meeting up with a bunch of friends over in Roche Harbor in the Orcas Islands, taking the boat over there, and then finishing up with family at Sydney Spit.
Beautiful. Jose?
I'm gonna be hiking for sure with friends in the next couple of days, and want to make it to as many patios as possible to hang out in the sun
And spend time with merchants, right? I will
give them my
likely see
money,
you.
enjoy them.
I will likely see you on those patios, Jose.
Yes.
Jose Albus, Alex Cook. It's been a pleasure once again. We will see you next week for episode 3. Gentlemen, enjoy your long weekend, and we will talk to you soon. Thanks, everybody.
Excellent.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Have a good weekend.